Hello, everyone, and welcome to the WSSEA 2026 spring season. We're into week number 2. We've got some more exciting Overwatch for all of you here today. But before we get into that, I've got to introduce the handsome man to my digital right. D-Lo, how are we feeling, my friend?
Feeling good, man. You know, after a long week, well, it doesn't even feel like it's halfway through the week. After a long half week at work, hot sauce, you know what I could use? Some good old Overwatch there at the esports little high school level to try to get some adrenaline pumping in my veins. Last week around, we had some fun games. It was a bit of a disparity in the matchup, but nonetheless, some good heat, some good passion shown on the battlefield. We're looking to see the same thing here today.
Yeah, another exciting best of 3. Two schools that are very well known amongst the WSSEA League. Lake Stevens, often very well in a lot of titles, including Rocket League, but for Lake Stevens, they've struggled to make playoffs in Overwatch. They've got a ton of seniors this year, 17 seniors of 22 players. So they're looking to make their last hurrah. They did get 3rd place last season, so slowly getting better with each season.
Dude, 17 out of 22 is such an insane stat because it really is going to show like the alumnus is going to spread out. The diaspora will be known for generations. And it does lead, of course, to questions of what comes next. But right now, the present is all we have in mind. The present's a gift, as they said in the wise words of Kung Fu Panda's Master Oogway. And that's going to be the case here. You know what's also a gift, though, Hot Sauce? You know what's also a present sent from above? Our Zotac sponsorship. Hey, everyone! We want to give a huge shout-out to Zotac Gaming for powering today's stream. Thanks to their incredible support, we're able to broadcast to you, all of you, yes, you, helping to showcase all the amazing esport talents we got to offer. You can show your appreciation for Zotac by giving them a shout out on social media. Make sure to join their community on the Discord, and don't you dare forget to use that hashtag powered by Zotac or hashtag ZotacUSA when you post.
That's right. Make a post. Let us know who you might think wins today's game here. Burlington-Edison, they went undefeated in their previous winter season. They are returning with a lot of members and even newer members that have had some history there as well. I think Cursite, their team captain, is returning from 2024. They've got a ton of players in other esports that are now coming. I saw a Ramen Noodles in there and Onslaught making their debut, but there's a lot of players that have played Smash Brothers, Valorant, Rocket League. They're all together now back for their last season. A lot of seniors here as well.
Much like Smash Brothers, everyone is here, and it's going to be a bit of a smorgasbord, similar to that franchise. So we're playing Overwatch, baby, and what's the locale going to be? Kings Row. Now, last time around, Hot Sauce, we saw how the series ended on this map, and this time it's going to be started off. And what that means is there's a lot of potential to either build up a ton of momentum or completely shut down the opponents. We saw how difficult it can be to get that first point take.
Yeah, this first checkpoint, or choke point rather, is very hard to kind of navigate through. And, it equally is important to defend it as well. Those spawns are very far. It's a very far walk back, basically, on that defensive side. So as long as you can find an early pick, give yourself something to work with. It could be great from that attacking side. We'll take a look at some of these compositions, and I do see a Doomfist on the battlefield as well.
That's interesting. Okay, so dive and thrive is, I guess, the idea. If a Mei were to try to block your path, you do have some good tools between them and that Vendetta as well to navigate through. Of course, that does limit your range in general, though. You can imagine Sky Kraken can hopefully try to keep an eye to the sky and snipe out anyone who's near dwellers lurking around. And it's again the same story that we saw here before, Hot Sauce. What I do find so interesting, that latest onslaught, that latest wave of characters still being left on the cutting room floor.
Yeah, I think comfortability, we talk about it, that scholastic level is a huge thing. So I think we see Cursite over there, Low Panda as well on the new support. But
oh, there it is.
Yeah, a little bit of action out there sneaking in on the back end, but already trying to get through this first choke point. I think Doomfist has to try to get into this back line and maybe create a little bit of a disruption here.
Wanted to try to take down the Orisa, but a good Suzu. It's a big cooldown offline, and Doomfist has got to be aware. Onslaught looking for the way back in, or maybe a way out instead. Cursite does fall down. Big question is going to be who is checking that Vendetta. Can be absolute havoc in the back line if you let them go unchecked. Same story, of course, for the Doomfist, but no longer needing to check it. Instead, it's going to be switched over to the Sojourn, Onslaught, now to the Junker Queen.
I like to see the swaps coming out. Got to be good on multiple different characters here if you really want to be successful. We'll see if Onslaught, this Junker Queen, can find a bit of that success against Orisa here. And again, we talked about the importance of this first choke point. It's so hard to get through that gate and pepper in damage. Berkey has already found an early pick here, though, and it's Sky Kraken to fall.
The issue is we're just sinking shots into this Orisa, and Berkey's going to worky. Takes down their Ditto, and is not going to really have too much of an issue because this meat shield, this Orisa, is doing such a great job at absorbing all the covering fire. LD Panda, make sure it's Sky Kraken seeing stars, and Onslaught's got to retreat.
A fall back here, take a deep breath and look to regroup. You don't want to continuously stagger out and maybe try to find a way to deal with Berkey over here, who is finding kills in bunches. They're pressing forward. They need to wait for Cyclone to get here. You need both supports on deck and ready to flex. We see the alt economy looking slightly more favorable here for the sides of Lake Stevens as well.
It's a good pull there from the dagger of this Junker Queen, but again, what's your backline able to do? It just seems like Kaka here is just absorbing everything, and Scythe is meanwhile getting picked. The rest of the DPS don't really seem like they have a target in mind. Instead, it's just anyone who you can see, and you need more tight coordination than that to actually find success. 2 minutes left, and only this Kitsune rush on board, though Sky Kraken is building up to that high noon.
Working toward that ultimate. Could have a lot of success with it. We see the Kitsune rush there as well, and a lot of ultimates starting to come on board here for both of these squads. The tactical visor almost to the hands here of Scythe, and that's when things get very difficult here. It comes at a great time when they're trying to crack into this point as well. And man, shots are ringing out both directions. Fugo will find the first, Berkey the second.
Shots ringing out, but what's the result? Cursite pops the overclock, but the Kakai Sanctuary there from LD Panda results in them all being absorbed from the outside of the field. No damage, no hope, no team members left. It's a team kill instead.
Yeah, back to the drawing board here. Already quite a few minutes off the clock. Lake Stevens has had a phenomenal hold thus far, but they've got to continue to do so. We see the swap towards Sigma here as well, and Sigma has been very, very good since patches, so able to have a little bit more success. Still have to work toward the ult. Sky will pop the Deadeye here. It is high noon, but there's no value from it.
Oh, man. Never mind. Daylight savings. It's actually nighttime. It's actually mid-morning. Sorry, buddy. You got the clock wrong. Make sure to dial it back, everyone. Berkey actually does take a spill. This could be a chance now. Onslaught still sitting pretty with a decent amount of health. The orbital laser pops and ready from the Cyclone, but it's the Tac Visor in response first. Laser trades out for ultimate as Scythe and Cyclone both will fall.
Yeah, and it's been the domino effect consistent here, but
nice.
On the other side of things, Lake Stevens has lost the Orisa, and at a late moment's notice here, 15 on the clock, they'll begin to work toward that payload. There's a late contention, but it's at risk of staggering as well, and this is going to come down to the wire.
Berkey on the Venture is able to actually retouch fast enough to slow their roll just a little bit. LD Panda's at the top ropes, but now is actually 6 feet under instead. OT, so they have to put it all on the line right now, but Orisa's present, and the damage is dropping down. Sky Kraken actually falls down to the ground. Cursite does take down Kakashi, and that's going to be the biggest thing. The tank is the most important member of the team. Berkey's fallen as well, and the payload is going to start rolling. Burlington-Edison, hang on.
Man, that overtime fuse was lit, but it won't burn out this time. It'll explode into this payload here, but they've only got 2 minutes and 15 seconds to work with. It's not a ton of time, and there's a lot of close corridors and winding corridors here in this second area. So we'll see if they're able to navigate through here. They've made some changes. The Sigma seems to be working a little bit better. They've got the Kitsune Rush as well to work with.
Man, oh man. What that really just starts off with, if you look back in hindsight, is Berkey going down. And that just goes to show that, you know, one crack in the wall can lead to the entire dam falling down. And it was all led by Onslaught. Solid work on their part to utilize his brawl composition. Here comes the Kitsune Rush, but unfortunately in a rush, 2 members go down. The Cursite's got the overclock, finds one, and Onslaught takes down their opposition.
I mean, there are kills back and forth. Both teams only have a few left standing, but it looks like Burlington-Edison has the slight advantage here, and they'll look to clean up. Cursite will find these final 2 picks. With that, they'll get much closer to this final destination. Should still be one more fight territory, but they're looking to put a couple more minutes on the clock.
You know what's got me upset is that there's a couple more ultimates still on the block for Lake Stevens. They didn't use anything in that last fight, whereas there's 2 ultimates in return from Burlington-Edison. It was worth it, certainly, but only if they actually managed to get this touch off and managed to reach second point. Suzu used and Sanctuary down. Battle Monkey's already out of it, and you need those support heals. Skycrack has got ultimate, but they don't have anyone to back them up. Cyclone will fall. The entire back line shredded away. And Onslaught Your own name is exactly what you experience. It's an absolute massacre. One more team kill for Lake Stevens.
I mean, Kaka there with the Terra Surge coming out from Orisa finds one, but does a ton of damage. Scythe doesn't even need the ultimate, doesn't have it, but doesn't need it. He finds 4 kills on the back of that play, and all of a sudden, all of that momentum gets stifled. There's only 30 seconds left on the clock here, D'Lo. This might be the last fight they get.
They do have the Gravitic Flux from the Sigma. Get some decent overshield there, but Battle Monkey and Cyclone have got to stay alive and already lost one. The High Noon comes out, but what's the value?
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, there's a nod. I mean, you get one. You do find one on the support here. He holds on to it a little longer than we expected, and he does find a pick. Immediately gets traded out, but Cursite is there. They find the Scythe. There is no tactical visor on board. Fugo has gone down as well. That's a support that has fallen.
Boom!
And now Burlington might just be able to put more time on the clock.
Onslaught's just doing a fantastic job at base tanking, staying alive, recognizing their value, but the issue is they know just how valuable the second point is. They're not going to let it go without a fight. Low health here for Berkey. They have the overclock ready. So does Scythe, but Berkey's already dead.
And Cursite has come alive here in the latter half of this game. 2 huge, make it 3 big picks as well. They're going to get the ult on deck. Juno is there, so is Carico, and all of a sudden, Burlington-Edison has given themselves a strong chance to push this payload all the way.
It's all from this Sigma, if you ask me, man. Onslaught's doing such a great job at opening up opportunities, eats up so much incoming damage there with the Vortex. It's forcing a complete switch-up in strategy, too. Look at that, the Ramatra, as well as the Wu Yang being switched over here, too. And that's going to allow for some decent dive, as well as some decent safety with the ultimate. But how quick is it going to be built up? Berkey does take down Battle Monkey to start, but here comes Kitsune Rush and the overclock from the Sojourn.
Berkey does find one. I like the swap to Ramatra as well. It's going to be much better against the Sigma, and it's certainly working here in the front line. Berkey, Scythe, and Ramatra combined for 3. Scythe will pick up the 4th, and Battle is the last standing here. Able to get back and regroup with the squad, but again, we're at that 30-second point. It's really only one more fight territory.
Esports debut here for Onslaught, Hot Sauce, and these are the moments that really make or break. Pressure makes diamonds. Will Onslaught crumble, or will they stand firm beneath the hydraulic press that is this Ramatra leading the front lines? Kakashi gonna have to try to make sure to hang firm. That ultimate's almost charged up, and that annihilation is gonna be really important.
It is incredibly important, but unfortunately for them, I don't know if they're going to get an opportunity to really utilize it, because Scythe has popped the tactical visor, and now we see that annihilation. It's only 8% away, but the overtime fuse is lit. Berkey, they find 3 together, and they may have just shut it down. The overtime fuse will dwindle away, and what a nail biter to open it up.
Dude, what? Were we just like sandbagging in the first point? Burlington-Edison trying to keep us at the edge of our seats, and it worked. They make it from overtime at first point. Very well, if one more fight had gone awry, they don't even get to that payload, nearly even reach the end of third point. That's genuinely so impressive. The tenacity of this team cannot be underestimated. It just goes to show why, even though they might be starting to only get their legs beneath them in terms of playoff standings, we very well could see a bright future ahead.
Yeah, I mean, what is it, like 0.01 meters, I think is roughly all they had to go at some point there. I mean, it gets right to the wire, but only 2 credited points there. And, it's a great last stand by Lake Stevens. So they could prevent overtime here. They can push it all the way to that final destination. And I think it was that strong start here around this first choke point, around this first payload, that really helped them solidify that dub. It put that time pressure constituent on their opponents. So, I think Burlington-Edison is going to need an equally good opening here.
I mean, the fact that they were so willing to adjust. Sometimes adjustments in composition can be reactive. Sometimes they're proactive. I'm convinced that the beginning it was Burlington trying to find their stride, and maybe they're a bit knee-jerky, because it was several times where they just would run it down once and instantly say, that doesn't feel good. Maybe stick with it a little bit longer. At the same time, though, it worked. At the end of the day, they've swapped to the Sigma. They finally found their flow, and they never really stopped from there. Now, though, we have the Zenyatta Ramatra composition. That is a lot of sprinkle healing. I'm a bit worried that Onslaught might not have the same sustainability we saw before.
Yeah, the Discord Orb can be huge in dropping some of these bigger players or that tank as well. You got to really break that line of sight. So Cyclone can still get a lot of value, but you really have to be able to hit your shots. And throwing boots here to the face as well. That kick can be strong, but Is Ramatra in a bit of trouble? We'll look to back off and potentially find a heal here.
Cyclone trying to get them off their lawn. That TP comes in from the Sims, so clutch, and the kill as well, but it's answered back by two of their own. So far the trade's in favor of Burlington-Edison on the defense, trying to make sure to put up the same stalwart hold up against their opponents that we saw prior. But Lake Stevens, man, I've got to wonder what the mentals are, because they've had to have not been expecting the distance covered by Burlington-Edison, so probably a lot more respect coming out from their opponents.
Yeah, I mean, certainly, I think Lake Stevens always does a good job of not, underestimating their opponents, though. They often come prepared. They've got a great coach in Coach Woods, so I think they're just trying to stick to their game plan here and do what works. They, obviously it was a tough time in the beginning, but, they always find a way to make it work. We saw it in that final stand previously. Battle Monkey has pushed back very far now here in this fight. The team's a bit separated. We see almost 2 ticks toward the payload as well.
Yeah, no blood even necessary. Just kind of using raw grit and determination and force, leveraging this pressure. Here comes the Zenyatta ultimate. That's going to ensure that Burlington-Edison can stand tall for a bit longer. There are ultimates in response, though. Coalesce comes out, and the onslaught annihilation begins. Curse Sight grabs 2, and that's all you're going to need to battle back the team of blue. Lake Stevens got to try again.
Yeah, they get 2 ticks toward the payload here, though, and so it's a good early start. They still got 2 minutes to work with. We saw for Burlington that it came down to the wire. That overtime fuse was lit when they initially got that payload unlocked. So there's still time for Lake Stevens to get out in front of the pack, but it is dwindling away very quickly.
Yeah, we know that you can, of course, get a big OT clutch playoff, but is that really what you want? No, you want some time. You want a little cushion, or maybe you want an overclock. Cursite stands with the high ground, and Mission and Bear all lined up. Here comes the orbital laser as well as Symmetra's barrier, and here comes the kills. Berkey and Lopan already take down 2, and Berkey's going to add to the kill count as Cursite will fall too.
Yeah, Berkey coming back alive here. We saw Berkey really popping off at the beginning there in that opening round when sides were swapped, and coming alive again, gets a lot of value from the ult. They unlock the payload. They're able to save the annihilation and the tactical visor as well. So they should realistically be able to go on and maybe win this next fight. We see Onslaught swap into the Ramatra as well. Some changes coming out here for Sky.
We talked about as well the fact that Skykraken is actually using this Emre, which is interesting. Has the override protocol ready, which does allow them to float in the sky, turn themselves into a living weapon, as the ability descript says. But nonetheless, it is something potent to watch out for. It's going to force Lake Stevens to separate and not group together, which is Juno typically wants to hang with the rest of the squad. Berkey now on this Genji as well is rather interesting. We'll see how they do when the blades come up.
See if they can work that blade here. We see him tossing the Shuriken in toward the back halls here, as there is some pressure forward. Cyclone on the Zenyatta, try to keep the heals up along with that Discord Orb on toward the tank.
Oh no.
It's nicer if you could find a squishier player, but the tactical visor makes everything easier. Scythe using it to its full advantage. Berkey, you talked about the Genji here. That's a quick 3-piece. Taka will find the final one, and another team kill here.
Dude, that was so tactical, Visor. Scythe, the way they instantly locked on a Cyclone. You mentioned the Zenyatta a bit exposed, right? Low mobility, one of the lowest mobility characters in this entire game. And they took full advantage of that. Scythe only had eyes for the Zenyatta until it was dead in the dirt. They were going to look at for no one else.
Shrink forward, Fugo has this coalescence in hand as well. They can see exactly how far they have to go.
Oh,
big
no.
boop there, and Sky falls to the wayside. Scythe has found them. Coalescence has popped, and they're looking to power forward.
They had the ultimate too, but now Emre's got nothing in the tank. Cyclone's going to try to hold firm, but the issue is Annihilation's going to last longer. The more you stay inside of it, Cyclone, you haven't learned your lesson. 3 members atomized beneath Kakashi's boot, and Berkey's going to add on to it. 4 meters from victory. No one can stop him.
No one will stop him here. Lake Stevens, a big job. They talked about how they'd struggled to make playoffs in previous years, and then last season they played very well. They ended up 3rd. The seniors are wanting to make that last hurrah, and they start off on the right foot here. They'll go up by 1 in the series, and it's only a best of 3, D'Lo. These are short series. You're already at match and series point.
Dude, B&E went undefeated in the winter season, and Lake Stevens, definitely it was a tough uphill battle for a little bit, especially on the other end. But again, Kings Row, I think, is so crazily good, and any hybrid map, I'd say, for building momentum and completely cutting it off. I'd imagine B&E are really scratching their heads saying, dude, what went wrong? We had them at the end for first point at OT, all of a sudden, we're the ones getting beaten back. We're supposed to be the big bads. We're supposed to be eating out of silver spoons. What's happening here?
Yeah, it's tough, but luckily the roster's huge, right? So, I mean, if
That's
you
true.
want to swap somebody out, maybe they're noticing something. Hey, this character would work a little bit better, and this player plays that character better. So, when you have a deep roster like that, it's a good problem to have. And honestly, it's exciting to see that there's that many kids wanting to get involved in this kind of stuff. It's wonderful. So, Burlington-Edison will get back to the drawing board. They've got to win out from here on out. So luckily they'll get to choose, where we go in this next one. But I believe it's escort ?
We'll find out shortly. But nonetheless, it is escort. Huge. Okay, I think that's going to be interesting because you don't at least have to worry about the stress of securing first point. I want to go back to what we were mentioning in terms of just the background here. Again, Onslaught's first debut here is very solid for Beanie. And of course, that also could be potentially part of the reason why you say, well, as difficult thing for you to start off against such a high-pressure opponent. Ramen Noodles is also stepping up, so we're seeing some of those roster switch-arounds here. You can do it with the characters in the game, but you can also do it with the players outside of it. So I'm curious if this synergy is any better. Now you got two people who are maybe a bit newer, but sometimes those newer players have new ways of seeing the game, get some fresh eyes on the map, and maybe that'll lead you to a tied series.
Yeah, Ramen Noodles, you talked about it, like Onslaught making their debut as well. Now they're in together, and I mean, honestly, Onslaught did great, especially on that tank role. Not the easiest role. And I thought that swap to Sigma was really beneficial for their composition. And it seemed to really be working for them. So I like the fact that they're, despite being new, they're comfortable on multiple different characters. I think that's an important asset to have in a squad like this. So they'll get a chance to bounce back. I love the fact that we not only get, hybrid, but we get escort as well. I've always been a big fan of the payload. So we get them back to back here in this one.
I'm also a big fan of payload maps. Not a big fan of the bot push. That to me, I think becomes a slog fest that becomes very insurmountable very quickly. Whereas we saw just now with hybrid how quickly turns can be tabled, and one good push, one good OT, as long as you stick by that point, you don't C9 it, you'll be just dandy. There's still possibility to work all the way back from first choke. So I'm curious to see if this brings any difference, especially the fact that you don't have to worry about now that first choke, which really held up Lake Stevens for quite some time. Maybe now they just fly. They just spread their wings and absolutely dominate, or maybe Burlington-Edison, they hit their stride instead.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Overwatch. So, obviously I love both of these teams. We'd like to see them both win, but at a minimum, I'd love to see a game 3. So, whoever takes it at the end, that'd be great. But I'm hoping that Burlington-Edison can bounce back here on Escort. They're teasing the idea of Circuit Royale, a map that has become very, very popular again. And it's another tough one. It's got an early choke point that can be very tough. But that second section, the windy racetrack there, can be exponentially tougher, especially if you begin to get the payload halfway up and then you lose your footing. Now you have to try to make that progress without being able to hide behind the payload. So you really have to try to make a strong, consistent, and steady push there in that second checkpoint.
I'm stroking my beard because I'm wistfully thinking about what compositions we might be seeing here. And you're right, that second point is where things get interesting because we transition from going, yeah, you do it better than I do, I'm not going to lie.
No.
Nonetheless, you've got a big transition from outdoor open fields, open skies as well, where FARs can sometimes be a very viable option depending on what your enemy composition is running if they have hit scans. And then it switches to indoors where that no longer becomes viable. But there are other options here now as well. I think as well, the Emre. The fact that Emre flies in their ult is important to keep in mind. Same with Vendetta, though we're not probably going to see her for a bit since people just didn't seem very comfortable on her. Nonetheless, the idea is by Circuit Royale, it's ever-changing, which I think is an interesting aspect of it, because like you said before, you have to know multiple characters to be separated from the good into the great of esports, especially here at this level. One of the biggest things that can separate you is not having a character puddle, but a character pool.
Absolutely. And honestly, you take a look at this map here specifically, I know you touched on it a little bit, but there's two big things about this map: long sight lines and verticality. So Ashes, Widowmakers, Hanzos, Soldier 76s, even some of the new ones can perform very, very well on this map. But we often talk about the comfortability. Sigma has done very, very well on both sides of the things on the offense and defense here on this map as well. I wouldn't be surprised if we see another Sigma come out, but I enjoy this map because there's a lot of different ways that you can kind of play it or utilize some of this high ground.
Sigma or Orisa, I'd imagine Sigma first point could do really solid just because the range is closer. And then once you're on that high ground, I don't know if his primary fire can easily reach the farthest sight line. So you might see a bit less of it then. You might see it be switched over to Orisa or Ramatra, someone with infinite range. Nonetheless, I do agree with what you're saying, and I'm agreeing with the idea of brawl compositions. Seems that that's kind of what both teams are opting for. We haven't really seen anyone opt for a dive strat. I haven't seen any Winstons. I haven't seen any hazards so far. So it seems that everyone's kind of okay with just slugging punches until one person's still standing and swaying back and forth, but one person's out cold.
Yeah, and Ramatra can be great here. Typically, we do see some more of the shielded style tanks just because there are long sight lines and it's tough to find cover. Orisa can do well if you have a good healer at the hip, but I guess it just kind of depends on what you're comfortable with. You have to make sure you're hitting those spears. You also have to try to avoid that shield of Sigma, the accretion. I mean, there's a lot to deal with there as well. So I'm interested to see what kind of comps they are going to be running. I know they were taking a little bit of a short break, kind of gathering themselves, figuring what full 5-player roster will be stepping in for Burlington. It looks like maybe they potentially have another replacement coming in. Obviously, like we said, that roster is both rosters, honestly, deep. I mean, we look at Burlington's roster, but it is Lake Stevens that has the 22 players and 17 seniors. So again, just great to see everybody getting involved.
Dude, they got more players than characters in the Overwatch roster. It's insane. It's absolutely insane. Put Ramen Noodles as a character in Overwatch, please. Well, it depends on their performance. We'll see how they do. Nonetheless, I'm looking forward to it. I think it's cool that we've got kind of this mix of old and new. There's going to be people that are bringing, like we said before, different perspectives into it. Like you think about a player of Valorant. There's very different things you have to consider. But at the end of the day, resource management, teamwork, coordination, those are the key of any esport that involves more than just you, yourself, and you. And I've got to imagine that both teams should be bringing that in spades.
Yeah, and in some games like Rocket League or Valorant, you can have a standout star that can really help carry. And there's a little bit of that in Overwatch, but everybody has a specific role. If you lose a healer and it's just going to, or support, it's going to be tough. If your tank goes down. So that teamwork to me is almost on another level when it comes to Overwatch. So team communication and building that team synergy and just almost knowing where your teammates are going to be. When you play so long and you run the same map so many times, you kind of get used to that strategy that you're running. So, a lot of that can be very important. But Ramen Noodles, you talked about a skin. Bastion has a Ramen Noodle skin. I rock it all the time. So maybe we'll see that out there on the battlefield as well.
and they're gone. As soon as you say it, you've actually eliminated them from life itself. JTG Films instead. Gonna bring us absolute cinema. Sorry, Ramen.
Yeah, we were hoping for some ramen, but we're here. You're here in spirit and you're here in moral support. So that we certainly appreciate. JTG will be stepping here in Circuit Royale. We talked about it. 3 different little sections here in this map. I feel like the second one probably the toughest, but being inside there in that closer corridor can be tough for some teams to navigate. And when you get to the very end, that defensive spawn is very, very close. When you have Lucios or hamster balls, they can almost continuously stagger out, but buy that extra time.
Super annoying when it happens, too.
Yeah.
When you get drip fed like that, it is one of those frustrating things of all time. So you gotta make sure to keep a cool head, especially if you're on the side of BEHS. You gotta make sure that you guys are keeping a cool head as well. You can't let yourself get too down in the dumps. You can't let the doldrums take a hold because, like you said before, it's already match point. 1-0, favor Lake Stevens.
All they need is one more. We head to Circuit Royale, and we'll be starting at the casino front. We're taking a look at the vertical curving racetrack section here. That's probably the toughest section, and then we'll finish up with a hotel. That's the last part of the attack where the payload will look to finalize its destination. But Lake Stevens, I believe, will be starting out on the defensive side here. Burlington-Edison have to make a strong push. They had a slow start in the previous one, but you don't have to unlock the payload here in Circuit Royale. So hopefully they can get off to a quicker start.
We'll find out. Kakashi on this Junker Queen. Ugo actually going to be taking up one of the... All right, I'm glad we're seeing the smorgasbord. We got every single flavor, potentially. Except for Domino. Maybe we'll see her in the near future, but nonetheless, the Anran is here. That's pretty cool. You got them alongside the Mizuki. LD Panda as well, the Wu Yang. It's like, I think it's actually all exclusively Overwatch 2 characters. Would you look at that?
Let's go here. I'm for it. I'm ready for the action. I do see a Hanzo out there in the mix. He's a classic, but D.Va is going to be great on this map, and you see why. You can get into that backline. You can create the disruption. It helps your initial push as well, and D.Va right now is bullying.
Ow, dear God. Fugo, lit on Fuego. Battle Monkey takes him out. And like you said, the dive. First time I mentioned it, and I clearly cursed myself. We're already seeing a good dive comp come out here, thanks to Cursite leading the charge. And it's also interesting to note that Cursite, before was playing the Sojourn, was playing as the DPS, now on the tank, and actually looking pretty comfortable behind the wheels.
Yeah, I mean, we talk about the importance of being able to play multiple different characters, but the same importance could be said for those roles as well. And so that's what we see, you know, vast knowledge of the game, vast experience and skills here on board, a ton of talent littered across both of these squads. But Lake Stevens looking to close it down in 2. We're on board here with Onslaught. We talked about the debuts, done a great job, but from that tank, now onto a support role as well.
I guess we're just going to see how well they can adapt, if they can flow like water. But that's LD Panda's job after all. The Warcry comes out from Kakashi. That's going to be able to demech the D.Va. All those sim turrets as well are going to be really frustrating to deal with, especially in this area. It feels like there's a minefield. These cars actually provide such good deceptive cover for all the sim turrets, and you don't really have the AoE damage to wipe them out easily.
Yeah, good initial hold here from Lake Stevens. There was some good footing gained on that first initial push from Burlington, but they'll have to regroup once more. We see Cursite opting to go toward this Zarya, and Zarya is a tank that has given teams a lot of trouble in the past.
Just that one tap, the log from JTG is all they might need to quickly lead to a flood. Again, one crack all of a sudden. You got holes everywhere. The ship's starting to sink. Ugo goes down as well.
Oh, maybe looking for that domino effect. You can hear the arrows from Hanzo raining down here as well. And they're beginning to make some good pressure here in toward the back line. Zarya dangerously low as well. Supports will look to tip them off, but it's not the case. Cursite falls. Onslaught as well. Onslaught, rather. With that, they should be able to make this push.
Berkey finds a 3-piece there. No overclock even needed. Dude checked in right on time. Nicely done here in the Sojourn. Proving that they're really the one to fear. Lazzle's got to maybe take some notes.
Man, it looked so good there for a second, and then all of a sudden I blinked and everything kind of got swapped around. So a great stop there even after that initial push coming back for Burlington. They'll get back to the drawing board. They've got 3-4 realistically alts to work with, though. We'll see if that can help them get forward here, because we see the Dragons coming out, and that could help them propel themselves with that Kitsune rush.
Yeah, Dragon Shot used to buy a bit of space. The Life Weaver ultimate? Okay, interesting. Oh, wait, no, sorry, that's the Sanctuary instead. I'm mixing up my support ults. Either way, the result's the same. Scythe does go down, and Fugo will fall shortly after. Sanctuary, unfortunately, does not last for too much time before everyone needs to flee back for safety. Good Graviton Surge, but maybe a bit unnecessary. Quite a large investment there from BE, but at the very least, it does ensure you can probably get to that first point, no problem.
Yeah, you know, I think it's a little bit risky, but Burlington-Edison got really close and fell just a little bit short in previous times. So you pop the ult, you solidify the point, and luckily for Zarya, she gets that ult charge really quick, almost back up to 40% already here as Cursite. So maybe it does just pay off here.
Well, they're feeding the beast a little bit too much. You gotta stop sinking shots into that bubble sucker. You see that thing pop up, you stay the heck away. That's what I gotta say. Nonetheless, Kakashi's got his Rampage ready, and that's going to be really useful. I'm looking for Battle Monkey to keep that Suzu in pocket, because that's going to be necessary to wipe away all those purple health bars.
It's important to do, and that's where, you know, Koriko can be so valuable. That debuff coming in. Lake Stevens, though, Fugo on the Symmetra, tries to get in toward the back line as well, has the ult, but might not get able to be able to use it here. Dangerously low on the health. The supports are doing a phenomenal job here.
Look at Fugo just weaving back and forth. Insane use of the teleportation there to ensure their own safety, and it worked out pretty gosh darn well. Cursite's head must be on a swivel to try to keep up, but you gotta make sure you're being careful as well. Here comes the Rampage as the Genji decides to dive in the back line, distracts him for long enough that Lazo's already dead.
Lazo goes down almost immediately. Cursite, though, opts to pop the ult back the other direction, tries to get them together, and this barrier is huge. It slows down that ult. There's not a lot of value from Zarya Onslaught. JTG will fall. It's only a matter of time. Cursite will find the consolation prize, but how much more will they get?
Oh man, solo grab onto Berkey, you didn't even get the kill. That's so unfortunate. These Swift Strikes from Berkey have been so annoying, almost always hitting at least 2 players. But that being said, you can't reflect the beam, buddy. Please be careful with your own life. You could be dead.
That beam is so strong, and I think that's where a lot of teams struggle with Zarya. If you can't burst it down immediately and find that kill instantly, you just need to avoid it. Don't allow her to find that charge. Count the bubbles. Once you see those two gone, then pressure in. Easier said than done, though. Cursight found the first. JTG will pick up onto the tank, and now the domino effect in full effect.
Oh no, Fugo crumbles just as soon as the wall does. May now being switched up from the sim, and Berkey goes down. It's the drip feed, Hot Sauce. At this point, you got to cede the territory. I don't care how good you think your Dragon Blade skills are. You're not going to be able to 1v5. Like you said before, Hot Sauce, one player can rarely carry a team of 5.
Especially in a game like Overwatch. So they'll have to get back to the drawing board. Luckily for them, they've got some time to work with. 2 minutes, though, on this attacking side. They've got into the hotel. One final destination to go. Cursight dangerously low, but they find a pick on the way out. And now we see Berkey battling back with a dance of the blade, slicing and dicing.
Man.
Nobody's safe in the back line.
Okay, all right, I changed my mind. Berkey, I'm sorry if you heard what I said. Please do not come out of the screen and take me out too. You see the way he just took off Hanzo's head? That was personal. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it may have been. I'm ducking behind D'Lo on this one. Berkey.
Come on, man.
It's all business now. I'm sorry, D'Lo. I'm sorry, but it had to be done. Up in the front lines, though, on the Ramatra. We saw Kakashi have a lot of success earlier, but in some trouble now. We'll pop the shield barrier, trying to work with it. And now Zarya is low as well. This battle between the tanks has been a great one.
It really has been, but again, we just need to invest maybe in someone else then. Stop looking at Cursight. Look instead towards Lazzle. Look instead towards JTG. The overclock's going to be popped from the top ground, but can they find the picks to match? Yep.
Lazzle finding that one on to Fugo, and again, they're just having trouble dealing with this Zarya in the front line, and she's just being a great distraction, eating up the damage, building the charge. JTG on this Hanzo just continues to pepper in these arrows from a distance, and what was working so well for Lake Stevens all of a sudden isn't.
Man, oh man, I see 3 ultimates on one side, I see 0 on the other. Cursight's got to stay alive long enough to get that Graviton off, and the beat's going to be super important if Onslaught can work up to that too, but Fugo's on the offensive.
Hey, trying to go all in. That W key stuck down. An annihilation to Fugo. Big picks near the end, and it's almost reminiscent of the previous map. Look how far Burlington has come. There is only 20 seconds, and Lake Steven knows it. They're trying to get forward and take this fight early.
They throw the entire kitchen sink at the little Hot Sauce. All 3 ultimates gone. They're only going to have the Coalesce, even if LD Panda stays alive. A great Graviton surge to start off, but maybe that was a bit too early. Here comes the barrier.
Barrier goes down. Ice Wall to separate the fight, though. The Kitsune rushes there, and at the same time, BE is firing off all their ults, but it's the Coalescence! Fugo, Pandemonium from Panda. They combine for 4. Sith will fall, but it doesn't matter. Burlington-Edison, they come so far yet again, but they fall just so short.
Okay, LD Panda. Okay. I thought you're all herbivores. You're making me have some doubts, all right? Change the food chain up. Someone get David Attenborough on the line. I am convinced this thing is murderous. What a great coalesce. And I'm not going to lie, Hot Sauce, on paper, I don't think that works. 3 ultimates was so risky that from Kakashi, Scythe, and Fugo to use on that one defense, 20 seconds left, because they knew there would be one last fight. But man, they put all 10 toes down. They trusted in their support, and LD Panda rewarded them with the hold.
Yeah, that Coalescence putting the bamboo and bamboozle just when Burlington-Edison thought they were about to steal it all the way to the end. Lake Stevens, another goal line stand, and they can close it out in 2. They can bring out the brooms in that sweeping fashion. They can just find a way to make it all the way to the end of the hotel.
All right, we got the Domina now. Thank you, Cursight. Now I just need a Jetpack Cat. Can I get a Jetpack Cat? My bingo card's complete. Can I get a Jetpack Cat LD Panda? Wouldn't really go well with the name, but I would appreciate it personally. Probably not going to get it. At this point, there is so much on the line here, man. They nearly still made it to the very end, so by no means is this a cakewalk at all for Lake Stevens, though I do think they're a lot of tight coordination. You say, listen, man, I am locked in a cage. Please help me. Berkey locking the hell in a cell here against his brother. But it's going to be a tag team match. Sojourn decides to step up. The Suzu already used, but Genji's able to escape.
JTG on the Hanzo. He has been tough for them to deal with, but Lazzle's actually the first to fall, and JTG will follow suit. Big plays from Berkey on the Genji.
Berkey, please. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Team kill for Lake Stevens. You know what happened there, dude? Like, Berkey's doing such a great job at pulling the attention of JTG. And what does that mean? That means that the front line's able to not really have much pressure. Hanzo's not launching logs. Berkey just killing Lazzle. It's a normal day for the Genji.
Hey, I'm sorry if Berkey kicks this door down. I'm not with you at this point in time because
Jesus,
the man is a menace right now. He is going crazy with the blade. Close to this first checkpoint. I don't know if there's going to be a contention here as well. It does come in with less than a meter to go, but unfortunately they dive a bit heavy. Cursite the first to fall. No tank on the field will spell trouble.
There's no way they even hold. Berkey gets 2. This is just disgusting work. Berkey, stop. Leave some for the rest of the squad, all right? You're a cyborg. Do you even need to eat this much? LD Panda says, I can at the very least. Grabs a quick bite of Onslaught before they go continuing on to checkpoint 2.
Look, the problem is this whole squad is hungry for kills, and they just can't seem to get full. They are hungry, and they are coming in. The beast once fed, slicing and dicing, but Berkey falls short this time. Great plays from Cursite. The support able to keep him alive long enough, and Cursite still has this ult here as well, but Panda is rocking that Transcendence.
I'm calling that what that was. That was hubris, plain and simple. You really don't have business being up that far in front without any distractions. Cursite flies the Panopticon, but it's going to be a response from both LD Panda as well as Fugo. Scythe drops the Sanctuary as well. A lot of investment here from Lake Stevens. They've got to make sure it counts.
This is where it matters most.
Berkey's back.
Does pick up one onto Lazzle, though. And now you are right. Berkey's back, baby. Panda will get a piece of the pie as well. And they will power forward. 5 minutes and 20 seconds on the clock, and Berkey's not done.
I'm not sticking around for the sign-off, dude. I'm getting off the moment this game ends and finding a place to hide. And that's exactly what Burlington-Edison need to do, or maybe they just need to find a place to hold instead. Battle Monkey's got this Kitsune Rush. Onslaught has got this Sound Barrier. Do not use them both at once, or at the very least, make sure it's strategic and not a reactionary backstep. Kakashi's got this Annihilation. If I'm Battle Monkey, I'm using the Kitsune Rush to get my team out once I see it popped.
Absolutely. I mean, it's really all you can offer at this point. You've got the Sound Barrier as a secondary backup, but they're trying to take the fight to him early. Unfortunately, they lose 2 before they get the full value. Lazzle's not able to find the ult, and Onslaught, if they pop the Sound Barrier now, it's really not worth it. They need to regroup for one final stand.
Oh, they're staggering Cursite, too. This is not good. If Cursite decides to go back in with a risky play, they are going to find themselves in a world of pain. Only 240 left. They do force Tranquility out of LD Panda. Actually, not too shabby. Good bait there from the Zarya, but what more can you get from it? Annihilation's here.
Yeah, I mean, the Tranquility comes out. Now the Annihilation. Berkey falls early as well as Sight, though. And they might have an opportunity. Cursite on the 3-piece. Annihilation gets nothing. It gets annihilated. And they will stand strong. But look at the time on the clock. 4 minutes can seem like an eternity.
Especially after how quickly they even got to this point, man. That is like just a 100-yard dash for them at this point. Lazzle's got the overclock. They got to make it count because Berkey, look what they've got, and look what they see in their eyes. It's blood, sweat, and tears they're trying to put in, but a great bubble and a great shutdown. Onslaught takes him out.
I mean, all of this momentum has been stalled at the end, but Cursite does fall, and now they have no tank. It could spell disaster. Scythe, the Sanctuary, the ult from Fugo as well, and they are going to reach deep into the pockets. They find the team kill, and Lake Stevens will shut it down in 2.
They end how they began. A lot of team kills. And also Berkey. Don't forget Berkey. I'm getting out of here, by the way, guys. It's been great. Nah, that was insane. Amazing work to the Lake Stevens squad. They really are getting to give a good stage to these seniors. Just insane to see the level of talent here. I like the fact that we got to see multiple friendly faces on each side as well. A lot of different heroes. We got nearly the entire smorgasbord. Just some good Overwatch. Can't complain.
Yeah, and even though it's 2-0, I mean, both of these games to the wire, and Burlington-Edison just a little bit short there. But hey, you know, they went undefeated in their winter season. Now they suffer a loss. It's back to the drawing board. It doesn't mean that you still can't win a championship here. So both of these teams, incredibly talented. We got to see a fun competition here today. And honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if we see these two teams running it back at some point in the postseason.
Nor I, my friend. And the entire reason that we could even bring you guys this action is our friends at LandFest. This broadcast and all this insanity is part of LandFest Scholastic Esports program, a program that supports this league and many others. Since launching, LandFest has delivered over 300 broadcasts to Scholastic leagues in Washington and Indiana. We provide these broadcasts free of charge to the leagues, schools, and teams we cover. Your generous donations are what make that all possible. Every $200 raised, guys, covers the operating costs for one regular season broadcast and might cover my hospital bills for when Berkey comes for me. If you appreciate our work, scan the QR code on screen, donate today, open your hearts, open your pocketbooks, open your homes to me when I go running for shelter.
Well, another short but sweet day for us. And if you're a little bit sad, that's okay, because there is Super Smash Brothers tomorrow, so you won't have to wait too long for the same time, same place. And it's probably going to be D-Lo, because my man is always holding it down for the Super Smash as well. But honestly, D-Lo, always an honor to be in the booth with you. So I had a lot of fun today, not only watching these two teams go ham, but getting to cast them as well. It was just a great day of Overwatch all the way around.
Can't describe it any better myself, my friend, but like you said, Hot, that's all we're going to have for you here today on WSSEA Week 2 Overwatch High School action. I've been D-Lo, joined here by Hot Sauce in the booth. We've had our almighty Eyes in the Sky, Connie Console, as well as Taylor. Please thank our production for all they do. We could not yell at games without them. And last, but certainly not least, thank you, loyal, obedient viewer, for your time. We hope you've enjoyed this series just as much as we have. Eye to the Sky for Smash Bros. Coming at you tomorrow, same time, same place. Until next time, good games, good night.